Good evening, YouTubers. My name is Alton Henry. Welcome to Underrated Movies. And today I would like to talk to you about a highly underrated film, which it was a promotion for Steve Carell's performance, which he was really good, really haunting, a little bit creepy. I think it's his first or second dramatic role that has no form of comedy whatsoever. And it also stars Channing Tatum, which the movie is mostly focused on him, and Mark Ruffalo. And if you can guess, what I'm holding in my hand is Foxcatcher, a crime sports drama. It's actually one of my favorite dramas. Actually, it's yes, and it's also actually my favorite sports film. And the reason why, because it doesn't focus a whole lot about sports. It's not about sports. It's about the characters. It's about the event that leading up to the tragic event of Jon de Pont shooting Mark Schultz. I mean, Mark or Dave? No, it was Dave Schultz. Dave Schultz. And the reason why, also, because I don't care much for sports. I'm not really a sports person. If you think I was that kind of cinema guy who likes to watch Bloodsport or Any Given Sunday, which no, I tuned out. All those dance movies. I remember at a certain time in the early 2000s, they will have like those dance sports movies like Bring It On and You Got Served and all that shit. Like, no way, hell no, that was not for me. Mm-mm. I was forced to watch those things. But anyway, Foxcatcher is my favorite sports film. It's more about sports. It's about manipulation. It's about deception. It's about family love. It's about all those things. It's about appreciation, trying to go to certain lengths to feel appreciated from a relative, a parent, and never feeling like you get that appreciation. This movie dwells in that very well in this film with Steve Carell's performance, and there's just so much great things about this movie that I think, without stuttering, I'll try to take it kind of like one at a time. Well, the movie, it's about, it starts off with Mark Schultz. He's kind of distant, alone, training by himself. You can see he doesn't really feel recognized as the kind of talent that he is. Professional wrestling. I believe in the story they won a gold medal. And I don't know which part is fictional, because I did watch a documentary about this on Netflix, Team Foxcatcher. It's mostly about the team, but anyway, about this character just feeling just so, I guess, so withdrawn from his brother, his older brother, played by Mark Ruffalo, Dave Schultz, who's popular with wrestling. He's won the gold medals, and every time they win, they always look over to Dave Schultz. Mark feels overshadowed by him. He feels he's not appreciated, or he believes he deserves the same recognition. So he ends up going to Jon de Pont about joining his team, Foxcatcher wrestling team, of trying to win the International Olympics. And he does so for a time, and then things start to go a little strange with his relationship with Jon de Pont, where their relationship kind of flows a little bit more. I wouldn't say like romantically involved, but no. It becomes into a situation where it just seems very odd. And from the documentary that I've heard about the guy, he's pretty much of an odd guy. So his persona, or his personality, his manipulation, or what he wants out of everybody, where he wants to be the best, he wants to prove to people that he's worth a dang. I think that's Jon de Pont's goals. That's also Mark Schultz's goals, who I think both characters see eye to eye, where they both want to mean something to somebody and not feel overshadowed and not appreciated. But I feel with Jon de Pont, his character, he uses people. He uses their talent to, I guess, feel some sort of like success, and hopefully it's enough to feel appreciated by his mother, which played by Vanessa Redgrave, which you'll know her as a somewhat of a villain in Mission Impossible, the first one. I mean, I don't know much about her work, but anyway, and things kind of go turns for the worse, where eventually Dave goes after Mark Schultz, finally brings the other brother. I'll get confused with the brother names here. Finally brings his other brother over, and things starts to kind of get a little discomfort between the two. Mark Schultz doesn't want Dave Schultz around. He hates him. I really love that the movie really doesn't tell you what the characters are thinking, but puts you in the mindset of what do you think they are thinking in the situation that they're in. Mostly with Mark Schultz feeling he's not being appreciated by his brother, or feels like he's not getting recognized. It's all about being recognized as your own person. Nobody wants to feel overshadowed by somebody else. You want to identify yourself as your own person. And I believe the movie has done a pretty good job establishing that theme. I also feel like they do a pretty good job establishing manipulation through Jon de Pont, his unsettling behaviors in the film. And I really like the tone and the visual style and the cinematography in this. Is one of the best shot movies I've seen from of 2014. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see this movie in theaters. It wasn't playing in town. I could not really take the time to really find it, so I ended up buying it on DVD. I bought it. I loved it. Surprise! I loved it. It's actually my favorite Steve Carell film, because he's so bizarre in the movie. He's weird. He's a walking unfortunate disaster, and the movie slowly builds up to that tragedy of what happens to spoiler alert, Dave Schultz. And it's based off a true story. If you don't know about the story about this, then I'm telling you about it now, and hopefully it's interesting enough for you to go watch it. And there's also a documentary about Jon de Pont and Team Foxcatcher, about the incident and his and a little bit about his background. The movie doesn't pay tribute to his background or anything. It pays tribute. It's more about the characterization and the build up that kind of leads to these three characters kind of colliding. The movie is slow. It is a slow paced movie, and honestly, I'm starting to think I'm liking more slow paced films. So this movie might be a bore to some because there's not much going on. It's mostly just character interaction, just trying to feel what they're all about, and there's really no cliche plot point or extra story just to make it interesting. The movie takes its time to try to get you to feel through these characters, what they're thinking, what their motivations are, and three characters' motivations kind of interfere with one another. Things start to get a little unsettling, where they're trying to figure out what each other's motives are when it deals with trying to be the best in this Team Foxcatcher, or trying to form a formidable relationship with each other. And the movie really does a good job with that. I think Bennett Miller, the director of Moneyball, made this film. He won the Best Director award at the Cannes Film Festival, which I love his direction in this. This movie is a quietly settled, ready disaster movie that is just gonna just blow up when when the worst comes, and when it happens, it is quite shocking and kind of a sad feeling to it. It is a little of a sad movie, but it's one of the better sports films because it's not about sports. It's about the characters trying to figure out who are they impressing in the moment that they're in. Who's gonna feel appreciated? Who wants to feel like they're their own person and not feel like they're overshadowed by another, standing up on their own in this world. So I would say I would give it 5 stars. Yeah, I would give it 5 stars. I really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed it more than what I thought I was going to be. Actually, that same year I was either there was 2 movies I really wanted to watch that year too. It was between this one and Inherent Vice. I like this one more than Inherent Vice, just as a film, not comparison as a sports film or anything, just as a film that was like released in limited theaters, because I think this movie, I guess it set well better for me, just tone wise and just visual storytelling and just with the characters. And I just believe that this is Steve Carell's best movie. I mean, he's just magnificent in this. And Inherent Vice, I will talk about that eventually in my videos. It's another underrated studio film, which they didn't have a whole lot of faith of it. But anyway, I would like to give Foxcatcher 5 out of 5 stars. And if you like this video, you give it a like or comment. If you have any thoughts about what I'm said in this video. You can also follow me on Stardust, AJ Film Guy, and I have more reviews there. And I'll see you next time on the next video.